it's time for the men's 1500 metres. We're going to have three heats of this.
The day is ready. It's time for the heats of the men's 1500 metres. So we start in position number 7, the European number 9 this year from France.
He's in really tough heat draws in some of the events.
I
do think this is one of those. Van Riel goes inside him. Riva. And then we come to the Olympic champion, world indoor record holder, 3:30.6, his personal best, Jakob Ingebrigtsen. Just one race this season, went fine, 3:32.38, but he's been very open about the fact that he's struggled with illness, that he missed a month through illness. Is he vulnerable? Might not find out today, might not find out.
I think there's a few new ones. I mean, we were at the European Athletics Golden Tracks night in October when he was the joint winner of the European Athlete of the Year. I'm sure there's a few new ones since then.
Jakob Ingebrigtsen slotting into his usual position.
Jakob Ingebrigtsen. He's been clutching his side there. Maybe just playing with leg number. Kind of a stitch at this stage. He's a really confident winner at the European Championships.
Mills of Great Britain and Northern Ireland.
Just adjusting his number on his front there. There he is. He's chucked a pin to the side. I think he had a safety pin jabbed in his stomach. That could be the trickiest thing that will happen to Jakob Ingebrigtsen today. We'll see. Riva at the moment having the lead. George Mills tucked in there on the inside. Asadine Habs on the outside. Very comfortable, controlled running from these men. It's going to be very, very slow.
Yes, it's a really quite lamentable pace here. The young Italian, Federica Riva, up front at the moment. Riva towing them around, but this is somewhat pedestrian at the moment. George Mills, former European under-18 champion, just looking around, just taking stock of the situation. Mills had a really good run earlier in the season in Karlsruhe when he won that World Athletics Indoor Tour Gold meeting in a personal best of 3:35.88. Everybody's still in contention here, obviously looking around at each other. It's a really good field as well. I mean, after Ingebrigtsen and maybe Mills, you'd have to say you could almost just throw a blanket over them. They're very, very evenly matched. 600 metres in roughly 1:44 pace.
Kind of getting slower. I was going to say they're on about 4:15 pace through the first 300 metres. That's quite an easy one to figure out if the graphics correct on the left-hand side of our screen there. Perhaps picking up ever so slightly here. Asadine Habs of France kicking into the lead at the moment. George Mills followed that ever so quickly. Neda of Portugal, so they're starting to move here, but this is the point for me. This is nice off George Mills. Athletes make moves, but they don't actually go to the front. They just waste all that energy getting into a pole position and then slam the brakes on. George Mills has just gone, no, enough is enough. This time round it's going to be 600 metres to go. George Mills has got this race moving.
And we've seen this so often. Jakob Ingebrigtsen just off the back. I mean, he was a good 2 metres off the back there on that particular lap. He's just closed it now. I just wonder what's going through Jakob Ingebrigtsen's mind at this moment, because he knows he's got absolutely every weapon in the armoury, but it's a long, long way round to get around the 6 men in front of him. And the pace is going to increase. I mean, we know Jakob Ingebrigtsen can win it from there without a doubt, but he's got to at the same time just be a little bit careful, because if other runners start moving out into the second and third lane, he's going to have to go the long way round. But now Jakob Ingebrigtsen strikes, and he's coming around very, very quickly as George Mills still leads at the front.
So it will be just 3 qualifying from this heat, surely. It's so slow in the opening stages. George Mills has done a 29, a 27, and now a 26 second 200 metres. It looks like he's still got everybody for company. Will the cracks start to show in the last 100 metres? George Mills from Asadine Habs. Jakob Ingebrigtsen in third at the moment. Will this be our top 3? They're kicking hard with 50 metres to go. Jakob Ingebrigtsen just holding up the rear there, the rear guard in third place. Asadine Habs sneaks the win from George Mills on the line. Finishing time 3:49, so very swift closing few laps from these men. Feel confident it will struggle to get a time qualifier from that opening heat. George Mills, very confident run, exactly the right thing to do, just wound it up enough to get himself out of trouble. But also, Phil, we kind of say if you're running slower than you're capable of, it can often make you look even worse than it makes you look a bit cumbersome. And until you hit full flight, which these men did in the last 600 metres, you've got to get up to that pace before you're going to start looking like you do when you're running those pace-made races. Result there, first race, Apeldoorn Hampton 3:49.88, George Mills 3:50.01, Ingebrigtsen 3:50.29. Automatic qualifiers for heat 1 of the opening round.
On the outside, it's Ismail Jabani, the Belgian indoor and outdoor record holder.
Erkeklerde 1500 metrede seçme ikinci seri mücadelesi başlıyor.
3:37 this year. There's other men in this field who are running much faster than him. Coscaran for one.
We welcome from Spain an under-23 European champion.
Ignacio
Bu
Fontes.
yılın şampiyonu İspanya'dan
Well,
Ignacio
Fontes
Fontes.
Took the Spanish indoor title in Madrid 2 weeks ago.
Coscaran of Ireland in good form joins us inside Fontes of Spain.
It's a best of 3:36.69 from 2021.
To welcome the Olympic Games finalists from
So good cross-country runner. There's Michael Rosmiz. Rosmiz,
from Italy, a world indoor finalist.
Dünya
2022 World Championship finalist.
So, heat number 2, another opportunity for 3 athletes to get automatic qualifying.
And indeed it is Sazanek who goes quickly to the front. Jabani looking to his inside, just checking where everybody is, and Michael Rosmiz coming round the long way round, just to get himself a good position up there. It's Philip Sazanek, Czech Republic. Sazanek's improved, and I've been quite impressed. I've seen a couple of his races on TV. He's really come through quite well during the course of this year. Hasn't improved on his personal best of 3:36, has run 3:38. But when I have seen races, he's been a very, very good tactician and competitor. Still Sazanek at the front. Just coming up to the 400 metre mark, 61.17.
3:36 athlete at his best.
Rosmiz quite comfortably tucked in behind him, as is Fontes at the moment, with a Racy on the inside. 5 laps to go. 500 metres completed.
Sazanek looking content to lead. Rosmiz for me is a really good tactician, deadly in these slower races, and he's getting there with the faster races. Rosmiz almost taking over that Polish tactical mantle from the likes of Marcin Lewandowski and Adam Kashot, so he's doing really well in second place there at the moment. Andrew Coscaran of Ireland, fastest athlete in the field, just sitting there on the curve at the back, hopefully not panicking, just relaxing, because so much can change as we move through the latter stage of this. Fontes instead to sit on the outside there. And Debiani, Belgium have not had a man in the 1500 metre final for 16 years. Which seems like an awfully long time for a country that's very, very good at the middle distances.
Nice and close. Movement starting to
Still Sazanek. I think Sazanek has made a decision, having seen the times in the first heat, to get out there and make it an honest race. So Sazanek still running well at the moment, up in front, controlling matters. Now just overtaken, Rosmiz now as the pace really starts to heat up.
A little bit of pushing, jostling for position.
So 2 laps to go, 400 metres to go, and it's 3 abreast. Rosmiz on the inside, Fontes and then Coscaran. With Sazanek now, the early leader, tucked on the inside, still running well, tripping up very slightly though, but he was able, and there's more tripping and pushing going on in there. Fontes, though, is clear of all the trouble. So too is Rosmes. Sazanek now starting to drift back, coming around the outside. Really doing a good job at this stage is the Norwegian Edmund. Well, we haven't really talked about this Norwegian, but he's up there at the bell, and it's still Rosmes though. It's Poland, Spain, Ireland. That's the 1, 2, 3 as a racy. The young Italians trying to come round the outside, but Fontenez now just going through the gears, striking hard. Koskaren is completely boxed at the moment. He's got no way out of that, no way through on the inside or the outside. It's a blanket finish. A racy comes through on the outside. I think Rosmes just held on to take the win with a racy in second, but will confirm the top standing. Well, the cameraman thinks it's a racy. I'm not so sure. Let's have a look at that again. I'm sure we'll see the highlights. Yes, as you saw there, a racy and Rosmes just split by the photo finish, just 7 1,000ths between them. Debjani gets through as the third automatic qualifier. Andrew Koskaren at 3:44.11. We'll have to wait and see whether he can get through as the fastest non-automatic qualifier. In a good position to do that at the moment, but Koskaren just didn't look as though he had the turn of speed. He looked a very different athlete to the one we saw in Birmingham in that World Indoor Tour final. Fontes, after working so hard, just drifts out of contention, and he's bound in 6th at the moment. Well, I know it's a heat, but what a thrilling finish. There's the confirmation of the times. A racy Italy 3:43.97, same time but the win, with Michael Rosmes 3:43.97 in second. Ishmael Debjani 3:44 exactly in third.
Third and final heat on the track, including track action of this first session at the European Indoor Championships. Italian record holder Maslak, Great Britain.
8 athletes due to line up.
One of those names, Josh Kerr, Olympic medalist, Jake Whiteman, world champion. We need to find out about Neil Corley and George Mills at those championships. There goes Osama Maslak. His training in Leeds in the UK.
Osama Maslak.
That's the Italian national indoor record.
We welcome from Spain, he was the bronze medalist in 2021, Jesus Gomez.
Jesus Gomez has done very well over the years at this championship. 2 bronzes in 2019 and 2021. There's Luke McCann, 3:34.4 new personal best. Him and Andrew Koskaren. David Nicoli of Albania, trying to be the first Albanian male, I think, to make a final at these European Indoor Championships. Surely Louisa Gakos made a women's one.
So Neil Corley, the British athlete on the inside line, in super form this year at 3:32.
Elbows out as always in the 1500 indoors. Neil Gordy content to sit at the front at the moment. Don't think he'll want this too quick. Osama Maslak might. Very good 3,000 metre runner. Osama Maslak famously beating Jake Whiteman indoors at the start of last season over 3,000 metres. I think on that day they just thought Jake Whiteman was going to go on and win the World Championships. Osama Maslak building himself a good reputation at this European level, and this is smart running from the Italian. He will have watched that first race and gone, I'm not going to mess around here, let's go out. Looking at 3:44 for non-automatic qualifying mark. That's easily doable by these men. 60-second lapping, just a shade underneath that, and they're on pace for that.
Yes, at this very early stage in the race, this is the fastest of the 3 heats. Gurley goes to the front, doing everything right, staying out of trouble at the moment. 58.82 at 400 metres, by far and away the quickest of the heats at the moment. So Osama Maslak doing the right thing, staying out in trouble, making it quick, and it's continuing to be quite quick as well. 3 laps undertaken, and it's still Neil Gorley though, towing them along. Gomez coming around the outside. Luke McCann can see what's going on up there as well.
figure splits on the big scoreboard.
Well, this is looking good for the men who may not end up in the top 3 at the moment. This is looking very good indeed. And as you say, it's absolutely the right tactics to keep it quick at this stage. Don't get involved in a tactical race because strange things can happen, even for a sprinter of the calibre of Neil Gourley. Luke McCann now making his move. Very astute running as well from McCann, getting in front, showing them what they've got. Come round with 600 metres to go, and it's the Irishman Luke McCann leading the way. Neil Gourley in second place. Jesus Gomez up there as well. So that's the 1, 2, 3 at the moment in the automatic qualifying spots. There's Osama Meslak holding on for dear life.
It almost looks like these men had a conversation in the call room. We just need to break 60 seconds for each 400 metres. We saw Meslak do a little bit at the start, then Neil Gourley, now it's Luke McCann. And I don't know if they will have, these men will be very familiar with each other, but at this level you probably wouldn't have that much of a conversation if you weren't from the same nation or the same training group. But it's now 2 laps to go in this third and final men's 1500 metre heat. This is the fastest of the lot. If they can get 6 men under 3:44, they will all advance into tomorrow's final. It's a tight schedule for these men to allow for that 3K double. Jesus Gomez, I mentioned his pair of bronze medals in 2019 and 2021 at this European Indoor Championships. Missed the whole of 2022 with an ankle injury. The Spanish man in red is doing fantastically well here in a return to form. Sneaky move up the inside there from Calvert of France, and they're spread out across the track with 100 metres to go. No one cares about running the shortest line now. You've got to get yourself into a qualifying position. They'll know it's quick, but they won't leave anything to chance. Neil Gourley showing off that rapid sprint finish to give himself a gap ahead of everybody else, pushing and shoving on the line there. I think it would be very tight between Gomez, Calvert and McCann. 3:41 on the clock, though. I do think they'll all advance.
The winning time by far the quickest of the 3.
Yes, it's looking like the top 6 will go through from this heat. All 3 non-automatic qualifiers will come from this third heat of the men's 1500 metres. A little bit of a surprise there as we look at Neil Gourley and Luke McCann weaving their way around in the closing stages of this third and final heat in the men's 1500 metres. But I don't think Koskinen has anybody to blame but himself. He did get a bit tangled up on the run-in, but at the same time he just didn't look quite the same athlete as he did a week ago, did he?
Well, Phil, we can't all make a European indoor final. I tried twice, never managed it. It's very tricky. It's fine margins. Indoor season is hard to navigate, but Bartesmeyer, Fontes and Koskinen all going out in that second heat is shocking. I mean, it's similar with Saul Ordonez and Tony Van Diepen and Thibaut de Smet in the men's 800. Results of the third heat in the men's 1500. Neil Gourley 3:41, Jesus Gomez 3:41 for second. Osama Meslak of Italy gets third. It's time for the men's 1500 metre final. Just seeing the athletes filter through out of the gates.
Please welcome on the outside, Olympic champion
Jakob Ingebrigtsen has run the fastest in Europe this year, 3:32.38, his only race. A win in Leuven. Closed very well. It was in the first heat yesterday that was slow. He ran 3:50. Just good enough to qualify. He put himself into third place. Osama Meslak of Italy is just inside of him. George Mills has been having a good season. Dean Habs and Adisi fancy their chances. This man's had a bronze medal twice at the European Indoor Championships. Jesus Gomez.
So the qualifying.
Jakob Ingebrigtsen's got a good lane draw there on the outside. Neil Gourley's got off the line hard, giving himself the very best shot, trying to see what Jakob Ingebrigtsen's going to do. And there goes Jakob Ingebrigtsen. He's not hanging round at all. Deviani of Belgium has got himself ahead of Neil Gourley. You can sense the panic there for Neil Gourley. And George Mills goes down. He takes down Osama Meslak. That's heartbreak for George Mills and Osama Meslak. George Mills doing everything he can to get back on this pace. Osama Meslak, unfortunately, has stepped aside. That was a serious injection of pace just after 100 metres into the race, and you can see when you've got someone that's the world indoor record holder, you take those moves so seriously, all pushing and shoving. Azadine Habs
getting himself into second place. They've just got to relax now, just got to settle down a tiny bit. And Jakob Ingebrigtsen only left them wondering for 100 metres, and now we know that he's feeling strong and he thinks his best chance at taking his first gold medal here in Istanbul is to make this a hard race from the start.
Into the home straight.
And it's Ingebrigtsen still leading the way at the moment, looking imperial. Azzedine Habs, well, we were looking at him as a real contender for the medals. He's had a terrific indoor season, and Neil Gorley behind him at the moment as well. So they went through 500 metres in 71.73. Decent pace for indoor running. Championship record potentially could be under threat. Even Heshko's 3:36.70, which has been on the books since 2005 when we were in Madrid. And Ingebrigtsen just tearing the guts out of this field. Habs and Gurley doing the best to hang on. So too Gomez, the two-time former bronze medalist. At the moment, the rest of the field single file behind them.
And when you're running, when the race is picked up here, they're running at a very, very good pace. Given that the first 100 metres was today, you've got to be very, very alert to if there's any gaps. That's what Neil Gorley is doing right now. If you're going to try and beat Jakob Ingebrigtsen, you can't give him 1.5 metres. That means you have to be right behind him. So Neil Gorley making the decision there as we move up to the kilometre mark. He wanted to go past Azzedine Habs, and I don't think Habs would have let Neil Gorley do that if he could possibly avoid it, unless the Frenchman has just lost concentration ever so slightly. Great move from Jesus Gomez to get himself onto the back of this group. He's a double bronze medalist at this level, and he's starting to separate himself from Arizi and Luke McCann as they are behind. Jakob Ingebrigtsen still in the lead. That's slowed a tiny bit, 29.3. It's not crazy fast for these men in the 1500 metres. So Jakob Ingebrigtsen just going to ease off ever so slightly to save himself a bit of a kick for the finish.
The championship record could definitely be still on, as it's Jakob Ingebrigtsen at the front, still ploughing away. As they come up to the bell, it's Jakob Ingebrigtsen, it's Norway, Britain and France, and they look like the men who are going to take the medals.
Jakob Ingebrigtsen, he's not quite kicked yet. He's going to wind it up, he's going to wind it up. Neil Gorley has got a phenomenal change of pace. That's the first attempt for Neil Gorley. He hasn't managed to get past Jakob Ingebrigtsen. He's going to have to try again in the straight. Neil Gorley working hard. Has Jakob Ingebrigtsen saved something? Surely he has. Here goes Neil Gorley. He's launching a charge. He cannot reel in the Olympic champion. Jakob Ingebrigtsen had the title of favourite, but he was going to have a tough job here in Istanbul. A 26.87 final circuit. That's what's given Jakob Ingebrigtsen the win. It is a championship record. 3:33. George Mills trailing in here in 11th place. Heartbreaking fall for the British athlete in the first 100 metres or so. But they did everything they could, and they came up short. Jakob Ingebrigtsen wins yet another European title. Half of the double succeeded here on the Friday night in Istanbul.
This is the fall, this is where it all happens. I think they're going to be looking at that, because I wouldn't be at all surprised if Friss was involved. He looked as though he was pushing and shoving there.
I think Neil Gorley was just protecting his position there, and it perhaps is just one of those things that happened.
Yes, I'd be very surprised if Gorley was penalised, but certainly there was contact. But looking at the sharp end of the race, Ingebrigtsen having the luxury of being able to look around with about 30 metres to go, and his finger goes in the air with 5 metres go, and he reaffirms the fact that he's number one as far as European middle distance running is concerned.
Another gold medal for Norway and Jakob Ingebrigtsen, championship record 3:33. Neil Gorley, silver medal 3:34. Azzedine Habs, the bronze, 3:35.39.